first time the U.S. went into Cambodia, we were on the first flight to go into Cambodia. And but we didn't know what the mission was, and until the morning that we were going to go on the mission. And we still didn't know it until we were out flying, headed that direction. And they came over the radio, said that we were going to be the first flight to go into Cambodia. And so there was other outfits that was going to join us, you know, be one big shot at one time. And so we were kind of excited, not in a happy way, you know, but anyways, on the way there, they were telling us that they'd put in a B-52 strike the night before on that area, and said anything moving is enemy. And so anyway, the other helicopters was joining in with us, and we were the first flight to go in, and it was, I mean, destroyed area. I mean, it was destroyed, you know, from the bombs and all that. And there was some hooches there that they lived in, you know. And but like they said, there was no civilians. So the VC. Anyway, we come down to the end of a little village, like, and we almost got to the other end of it before we were going to sit down and let some troops out. And right before we got to the other end, we they told us anything moving is the enemy. So we got about the end of the corruption there, and I happened to look at this little hooch, like, and about the time I looked over there, I saw the door open on it, and I kind of come running out with a rifle, and so I did what I was told to do. You know, anything moving was the enemy, and so I pulled my 60 around on him and let him know I was there, which he didn't live through it. That was probably one of the first deaths that I caused, and which at the time you can't think, you can't have any feelings at the time, you know, about people and all that. It was said to be strictly enemy if there was anything moving down there. And anyways, that's what happened to that, because there wasn't anybody else around there to fight. They'd already got cleared out, and, you know, just a straggler here and there. And I happened to get one of the stragglers. And but anyways, shortly after that, we got called out. Our helicopter got volunteered to go on a flare mission in Cambodia. The U.S. outfit was getting their butts kicked bad, and they're begging for help. So we loaded the helicopter up with flares and left out and got out there, and it was getting dark, and so we were in touch with the people on the ground, and so we started throwing the flares out. But heck, before we got there, you could see in the distance there was tracer rounds just all through the air, especially at night. They were everywhere, in the sky, all across the ground, and I mean, it was bad looking. And the only good thing about us was, well, we were a target, because we just circled around that area, supposedly out of small arms range, and anyway, we got there and we started throwing flares out, and they were happy, they were happy right then, and so we kept flying around, and it just kept fighting going on the whole time, on the ground, and we were there a good hour, at least, if not a little bit more. And the pilot went on the radio and told them on the ground that we had to leave to go refuel, and they begged us. Not like they actually begged us to not go, and which I felt so bad about it, didn't want to leave them out there in that mess, but we didn't have any choice, and we told them that 10-minute fuel light came on, and told them we had to go, and we knew right then we didn't have enough fuel to get probably out of Cambodia, and so they begged us to not go, and finally we went and told them we could not help, we had to go, and started away from there, and a 5-minute fuel light come on, and we were just saying our prayers in. I mean, we knew we were going down, and it's dark, you can't see the ground. So we flew until the 3-minute fuel light come on. And when that comes on, you might as well kiss your butt goodbye, and especially at nighttime, you're coming down and it was just solid jungle, thick jungle, and you were lucky to find a spot big enough to set a helicopter down in, and not knowing what's going to be around too. And anyways, when the 5-minute fuel light come on, we started going down, and it was just the weirdest feeling. You're up high enough to where it's cool up there, it's comfortable, because the door's always open on them, and matter of fact, they took the doors off because there was no use for them. And anyway, we started going down, and you could feel it in the air. Start to get a little warmer, and you get the smell of jungle. And you're saying to yourself, we ain't gonna go home. And so we got down to that treetop level and couldn't see anything to land, that where to land, and happened to glance up ahead of us. There was lights up that way, and didn't know who they were, who they belonged to, and but we didn't have no choice to just take a chance on, it'd be friendly people, and we headed that way, and right about the time we got there, we were running out of fuel. And the Lord had to be with us because we had just enough fuel. It was a U.S. outfit in a circle, a U.S. tank outfit in a circle there. And we went and sat right down in the middle of them. Of course, they weren't happy about that. We were blowing tents everywhere and dirt everywhere, and a helicopter blow out a lot of dirt off the ground. And we sat down in there, and they come running out there, and they were pissed because we were in there blowing everything away. But they were also happy that they could save us, and so we sat there till the next morning, and to where they could fly fuel out to us, but oh gosh, that wasn't, just the fear of going down in that jungle, and no way around it. We were going down, and so, but that was a heck of a thing to get over with, anyway, in your mind. But we kept on, and I mean, our flight, our helicopter, would get in some jams that were bad, and for some reason we'd make it out of it, where a lot of them wouldn't. They'd be on the ground crashed in the helicopter, and like I say, when I come home from Nam after 2 tours, I came home without a scratch on me, pulling 2 tours over there and being shot down and all that, and it was crazy. I mean, we it's like we were flying mission, and I don't know if I told you or not, but the captain that worked in the office, he wanted to get his flight flight time in, and he didn't care how he did it. He went against us about wanting to stick a daggone 50 caliber machine gun up there on it instead of a 60, which the 50 just shot too slow. It's boom, 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 boom like that, and It was just too slow, especially low at a high altitude, shooting down. Yeah, but that close to the ground, it ain't worth nothing. And so, anyways, we went ahead and loaded it on the helicopter. He ordered us to take it and put it on the helicopter. And our pilots, they were just warrant officers, They didn't have much of a rank, And so we did it. And our last go round, we had to make 5 trips in there to this one place. And we'd gone treetop level back and forth the whole time, except for the last one. And he was wanting his flight hours in. He wanted to fly, and which was okay, but we were flying over the trees, and we come up on this big clearing over to the right side of it, and the idiot took and banked over into that clearing and dropped down about 6 feet off the ground, headed to the other end of it. And I mean, you were sitting duck, didn't know what was in the tree lines or anything, and all hell broke loose. I was trying to dodge stuff there I couldn't see that was hitting around me. Sea rations were stacked that high in the helicopter there, and I started shooting into the tree lines there, and finally one of the pilots come over a good pilot, came over the radio and said the chief was hit. So I had to drop what I was doing and crawl across the top of the sea rations. I looked over there and I saw him. But I looked over there and saw him, and here was the sea rations. They were on this side of me. And I jumped around on the sea rations, and I saw him laying there. He was laid over like this, with his laid over like that, with his hand on the 50, and it was still shooting. He still had his finger on the trigger shooting, and I could see him bleeding. So I crawled across there, got a hold of him, and I managed to get his finger off the trigger to 50, and I could see that he was bleeding around the neck, and I found 2 places that was letting blood out. So I had to use both hands to stop the bleeding. So I was laid on top of sea rations with my fingers, my thumbs on the area, the holes that was in him, to keep the blood from coming out. And next thing I knew, our regular pilot, next thing I knew, we started doing this number. The daggone captain, he lost control of the helicopter. And we were almost to the end of that clearing, and I looked out the front window, and man, I could see the trees coming right up on us quick. I knew we were gone. And floating back and forth, and finally the regular pilot, he managed to get control of it, and if he hadn't, when he did, they'd been picking us out of the tree. We were right on top of the tree, and he just did get us up above the tree, and which, I mean, there was a lot of thought and feelings and all that into that at one time. That you're gonna die. I mean, everything. But the other pilot pulled us out, and he called Saigon to the hospital. Told him we were coming in there, bringing somebody that had been shot, and they were going to meet us outside the helicopter, outside the hospital. And finally made it to the hospital, and they were out there waiting for us, and they got him off the helicopter and carried him in, and we were still, blood everywhere, and it was like it was okay with the captain. I mean, everything was fine, and it won't. Everything won't fine. If I'd had my way, I would have shot him. I'd have shot the pilot. Because he brought it all on. It was all his fault. Every bit of it. Yeah. It took a lot to get over that. We flew on back to the company, and they were good enough to let us have the rest of the day off. After going through that, so some things were crazy. Things were fun over there, but when the idiots took control, no telling what would happen.